Welcome back to Barstool Banter. We'll give John Palmieri a little bit of a break. And my name is Ray Brownell from Fox Sports 980 and WNYT, News Channel 13.
The number one station.
The number one.
Best sports coverage in all of the region.
Thank you, Ray. You know what? You could be my agent.
Let me be your agent.
You be my agent, Ray Brownell. Ray Brownell is our local agent, NFL agent extraordinaire. Although you guys are going to continue to branch out, right? Not necessarily just NFL. I mean, you'll go NBA, you'll go wherever you need to go, correct?
Yeah, we go NBA, we go Major League Baseball. We are doing some boxing now.
Boxing.
So
is that Mikey?
We are working with your boy Mikey Farragon.
Mikey Farragon's been a little banged up.
Yeah, he has.
That's been the problem. Why he has been idle for so long. He was on a nice roll there. A lot of fights here locally, and he draws a really nice local crowd. And we're all about Mikey Farragon. Trust
Absolutely.
me. I've done more Mikey Farragon stories at times too than anybody. And love the young man, and is he? Last I heard, he's getting back. Is he on the mend here a little bit?
He's on the mend, and we'll have some news on his next things, the next few weeks.
All right, well that's good. I know you're working with his father, Andy, Big Andy, and good man. And met Andy 100 years ago at a Little League field. He said, "You got to do a story on my son because he's a boxer. He's a good kid. He's from Guilderland." And he was an amateur at the time, and I'm like, you know what, I like boxing, I like something different, let's bring the cameras out, do something with him, and we've been doing stories ever since, so it's all good. All right, what do you make of the Giants and Jets this weekend in week number 2? It's only a preseason game, but I have a funny feeling, at least at the beginning of that game, when the starters are in there, the emotions will be running a little bit high.
Yeah, they will, and we've talked all along the last few weeks about how Giants have been flying under the radar, no big problems at camp, with the exception now, I guess, of beds, but no other major issues at camp, and how the Jets have been really suffering from overexposure and all the challenges related to that. I think that when this game starts, I think you're going to see the Giants want to come out and just lay the lumber and reassert their dominance. Say, look, you guys, you're the upstarts here. You may think you're the king of the city, but no. We are.
Yeah, I think the Giants feel a little disrespected. They are the defending Super Bowl champions, and for the most part, all of training camp here, they have not been on the back pages, but the Jets have with Tim Tebow and Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan. I think they want to make a little statement here. Not that Tom Coughlin's going to alter the way he plays his starters. He's going to do what he would normally do, but when those starters are in there, this game number 2 may have a little bit more meaning than the rest of the preseason games. Would you agree?
I would agree completely. It's going to definitely have an edge. And when we talked about the Tebow arrival in New York, we talked about why the Jets were doing it, at least from my perspective, and they're getting exactly what they wanted out of it. They're getting a bit of a quarterback controversy, but I think that's starting to dissipate now, given the stronger performance of Sanchez. Tebow has pushed him. Mark has done much better, and Tebow has kind of tailed off a little bit on quarterback play. Now they're using him in other ways, but what that acquisition did was, at a time when their chief inner-city rival were the national and world champions, they were able to usurp the back page coverage and keep their name out there. So I think that the grand plan in that regard worked for the Jets, but I think at the end of the day, which team's going to have a better record, which team's going to acquit itself more by the end of the season, my gut tells me the Jets probably don't make the playoffs and the Giants make another run in the Super Bowl.
All right, there you go. A little prediction from our NFL agent, Ray Brownell. And by the way, we do have 5 ranters tonight. So good job, Dominic DeFrucio. We have 5 ranters. We have 2 prizes. So we need some judges. Ray, you going to be in the house here a little bit? Help us judge a little bit. And you have a partner with you tonight, too.
Yeah, Chris Danowski works in our baseball division and our football division. Started with us as an intern and has worked his way into a job with us. Does a great job. Young, aggressive, go-getter.
There you go.
Has a future in this business. So.
Sounds good. Let me ask you about one of your clients, Ray Brownell's clients, is Hakeem Nicks. And actually very good news on Hakeem Nicks. If you're Tom Coughlin, you're thrilled to hear this news.
Sure you are. And we, as we said last week, we anticipated he'd get clearance, and he did. And he's done everything to this point that he's needed to do. And he's not a guy who needs to get a ton of reps in camp. I mean, you're not worried about it. He's in great shape. So he's going to be there when the rubber meets the road to start the regular season. He'll be ready to go.
And his first practice will be Monday, right?
Monday. First practice Monday.
Obviously not going to be in the preseason game, but once they get back to work after a Sunday off, Hakeem Nicks will be on the field at their practice facilities in New Jersey, getting ready for the start of the season. What do you make of the Jason Witten injury? You hear spleen injury. Doesn't sound good. Are you hearing any insight on that injury to Witten and when he may get back on the field? And of course, their first regular season game happens to be against the Giants at MetLife Stadium on September 5th.
On a short week, too.
Yeah.
So, they're very concerned. I talked to some folks in Dallas. They're not letting on exactly how concerned they are. I think part of it is they don't know exactly the extent here. That's why they're going to let him take it a little easy here, and they're going to reevaluate him after this weekend's preseason game and see exactly where they're at. The problem the Cowboys are having is they lost Martellus Bennett. He went to New York, to the Giants. They don't have a lot of depth there at tight end. Now, you remember a couple of years ago, a client of ours who was starting his career with that team, Scott Sicko, local young man, started in Dallas. That would have been a great opportunity for him had he stuck with football and made his way through. But there's really not a lot of tight ends out there. So if Witten is going to be out for an extended period of time, the Cowboys are going to be in big trouble because there's just nobody out there for them to pick up.
You still shake your head over Scott Sicko every once in a while?
I do. And, I understand his concern. He came out, he had a great preseason performance in that Hall of Fame game, Roger. 6 receptions, 90-something yards. And on the second to last play of the game, he took a shot to the head, had a concussion, and I think it really scared him. And I think that when he thought about his life and his career, and he thought, man, I get one more of these and I'm done. At the time I thought it was a bit short-sighted. I thought, let's get you ready. When the Cowboys cut him, we continued to get calls. I mean, significant numbers of calls, 17, 18 calls a week for him to go. I mean, you had teams, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Jets. I could rattle off half the league wanted this kid. The Baltimore Ravens, and he just didn't feel like he could give it his all and play. And it's really sad because I think that had he been able to get past the mental hurdle, and the physical hurdle would have been fine. It was not a severe concussion. I think he would have been fine, but the mental hurdle was what he couldn't overcome, and he retired from football because of it.
And Scott Sicko, for those of you who don't know, went to school at LaSalle, and then went on to Maine, New Hampshire, and had a nice college career. And Ray and J.R. Rickert, that's who he hooked up with in terms of an agent, and did not get drafted, but as an undrafted free agent, went to the Dallas Cowboys and could have made that team. He could have made the roster.
Primed to be the number 3 tight end on that team that year. He would have made the 53-man roster.
Yeah, got a concussion in the Hall of Fame game that year. So what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, and then decided that he didn't want to play football anymore, and that was it. What's Scott Sicko doing these days?
He's living with his now wife.
Who's
a nutritionist in Baltimore. They live in Baltimore, and he's teaching. And he's looking to go back and get his master's in teaching and, do all of that. So
he has to every once in a while go, boy, I could be playing right now and making a pretty good buck playing in the National Football League, but it is what it is.
I'll tell you, at the midway point of the season, after all had been said and done, and he had made it clear he didn't want to play, the Baltimore Ravens called, and I talked with the Ravens extensively. Now, he was living in Baltimore with his fiancée at the time. They said, look, we want him for the rest of the year. We're going to make him active. Okay, he won't see a lot of action barring major injuries, but we need a tight end, and we want him. He could have, assuming all that was true, he passed the physical, and so on. Had he made the active roster for those 8 games, he would have made about $180,000 over 8 games. I tried to say to Scott, look, it's right there. You don't have to go anywhere. You're in Baltimore. It's where you're living. Do it for 8 games. You got yourself a little nest egg and retire. Couldn't get beyond the mental hurdle.
Preseason games, obviously we're moving on to week number 2. What do you read into Andrew Luck in Indianapolis and the numbers that he put up in the 2 touchdown passes that he threw? That would, to me, be a pretty good sign for Indianapolis and Andrew Luck in his pro debut.
Well, certainly we know there's no question he's going to be the starter. So when you go into that point of the preseason, you know he's your go-to guy. With a rookie, the objective is build confidence. So that's exactly what they did. His first pass was a short pass turned into a touchdown. All of a sudden now he's believing. He's got his teammates believing. You really couldn't have scripted it any better for the Colts. And look out, there's a guy, a couple of quarterbacks behind him too, named Chandler Harnish. Came out of Northern Illinois this year. Was Mr. Irrelevant, the very last player drafted. Another kid who did real well. So they've got a couple of good quarterbacks on that roster now. Barring any significant injury, Harnish won't ever see the field. But you couldn't have asked for a better start for him and getting the feel of that offense and getting those guys in gear than what he did. I mean, I think he's going to have a significantly fantastic career for the Colts. I don't want to say he's Peyton Manning again. I mean, that's not fair. But he certainly did all the right things in his first action.
Yeah, off to a good early start. How about RG3 in the action in Washington, D.C.? Another quarterback that could have a very good career, a little different way of style than Andrew Luck, but I think they were impressed with RG3's start in Washington.
Yeah, I think they were too. We were watching a little bit of that game over the shoulder last week here. Again, he's going to give you some dimensions that they haven't had before, and he's a rookie, so rookies are going to struggle a little bit. They didn't put up a lot of points last week, so you didn't see it on the scoreboard, his progress. But when you look at his stats and you go back and look at the film, and I watched that game again during the course of the week, he looked poised, he looked confident. Those are the things you're looking for out of a rookie. And the rest of the game will start to come. Guys dropped some passes, he made some bad decisions, but again, he's a rookie. So inevitably, he's always going to be compared to Andrew Luck, and who makes the most progress over the course of time. That's just the tyranny of the game, but I think both teams are very happy with the progress that each of those quarterbacks has made to this point.
Well, Ray Brownell, thanks for coming up for a few minutes, and good luck with everything you got going on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And hey, congratulations. That was a great one-on-one with Tom Coughlin on TV the other night.
Thank you.
You're the only guy in this market who can get that. You did a great job with that, as always. You are the man when it comes to sports coverage in the Capital Region.
Thank you, Ray. Much appreciated. We have ranting coming up next in about, I would say 10 minutes, 15 minutes.